Hey there, I'm Tony DeCopel. This is The Uplift. We got a great show for you, a great cast of characters as well, among them these. A group of fifth graders that wanted to help their disabled classmates have more fun at recess. Also, a man who lost one of his beloved heirlooms and how the power of social media helped him get it back 20 years later. Also, a man who saw a flaw in the travel industry and took it upon himself to fill the void, helping young travelers with autism. Plus, a tale of two men brought together by their love of country and a tattered American flag. All that and so much more heartwarming news. You know what you're watching, The Uplift. Welcome to The Uplift, the show that lifts you up for at least the next 30 minutes, you and me as well. And we're going to begin with a story on the resourcefulness of children. Kids in Miss Julian's fifth grade class who realized their classmates with disabilities could not participate in recess like the other students could. Well, what'd they do? They pooled their resources to make a more inclusive playground. Here's Steve Hartman with our story.
Good morning. This is Merrill.
And this is our lesson on resourcefulness.
Emmett, what does it mean to be resourceful?
Resourcefulness is making the most of the limited resources you have to get something done.
Good. And kids especially need to be resourceful because you don't have a whole lot of money to get stuff done.
We have almost no resources.
That's right. But you do have your creativity and your hard work. And with that, great things are possible. As you'll see in this story, pulled from our archive, filed under resourcefulness.
At Glen Lake Elementary in Hopkins, Minnesota, recess is a mixed blessing. On the one hand, there's so much to do, but on the other hand, not everyone can do it.
It just didn't seem fair that some kids were just left out, and it's really sad to see other kids go through that.
They didn't look happy, and recess is about having fun.
Glen Lake has a lot of students with physical disabilities, but no wheelchair merry-go-round, swings, or any adaptive playground equipment whatsoever.
Come on in.
Which really bothered the kids in Betsy Julian's fifth grade class, to the point where one day they asked her, why can't we just buy the equipment ourselves?
I said, do you know how much that costs?
Yeah.
It costs a lot of money.
$300,000.
$300,000 by her estimation. But the kids were undeterred. They started collecting spare change, then held a bake sale, printed flyers, and went door to door. Then they began cold calling businesses and even got restaurants to donate a portion of their profits. This went on for months until they hit their goal.
We were all very happy on the inside and on the outside.
The smile on my face, I could say, was an ear-to-ear smile.
I was just really happy that we made it.
Reese Riley says they worked so hard. It was overwhelming to finally know a more inclusive playground would be coming. And as for the kids who'll benefit, they seem to appreciate the effort almost more than the result.
First time I set foot on this playground, I'm probably gonna start crying. From seeing the effort that all the school has made.
Mrs. Julian couldn't agree more.
My future as an adult is bright, knowing that this generation of students, of change makers, see something that needs fixing, and they go for it, head first.
The whole thing.
Head first and dive deep.
What's our next step?
After raising the $300,000, Mrs. Julian's class set a new goal, to the ceiling and beyond. Well on their way now to turning loneliness and isolation into child's play.
There we go. Mrs. Julian joins us now. Thanks for visiting our class.
Thanks for having me.
How much money did you raise in total?
Just under $1 million.
$1 million. So that went up to the ceiling and then down out the other door.
Eventually it fell down and they reached their goal.
And what did you do with that?
All the students designed and made all the plans for their playground, and the playground is fully finished.
So how did you get the kids to be so resourceful? Because so often kids feel like they can't do big things.
Yeah, they had very lofty goals, and I never said no.
What was it like the first time you saw kids using the equipment?
I just immediately started crying because when everybody gets to experience the joy of recess, it's just the most beautiful thing you could ever see.
Thanks for all you've done, and thanks for being here in our classroom today.
Thank you, Steve. Thanks, you guys. Bye-bye.
You know, those kids faced a daunting task, but they were undaunted. So next time you face a goal that seems beyond your reach, don't be doubtful. Be resourceful. We'll see you next time.
And don't forget to stay kind.
Coming up, after a home invasion more than 20 years ago, a Texas man thought his beloved ring was gone, lost forever. But thanks to the power of social media, that was not true. Welcome back to The Uplift. We wanted to share a story about the power of social media and how it can connect you to the right people. Here's Nicole Nielsen from CBS Texas.
You know, I wasn't the star of the team, but basically, I mean, here's my beautiful bleach blonde hair.
Blake Poole remembers 2002 well. It was the year his football team, the South Lake Carroll Dragons, won the state championship.
I think this was after a win.
The team all received beautiful rings as a symbol of their accomplishment. But the next year, a home invasion in 2003 meant it was stolen alongside other family heirlooms.
It was just one of those times where it's like, man, you know, it was special. You know, it took a lot of work to get it for, you know, the team. And it's been 20 years at this point. But at the time, I mean, it was a pretty big deal.
As the years passed, he almost forgot about the ring. But on Monday, a Facebook post caught his wife's eye.
I knew that people would see it and knew that it was a prized possession and that they would try and help find who owned it.
Dusty Steele came across a Facebook Marketplace listing over the weekend selling the ring for just $50.
My first thought when I saw it was, this has got to be lost or stolen.
He decided to purchase it with the intent to find Poole, the only clue being a last name on the ring. And within 30 minutes on social media, he'd been found. The pair met up within a matter of hours to finally place the ring back on the right hand.
You could tell that it meant a lot to him.
Today, Mr. Poole spent the morning reminiscing on the good times, excited to share photos and his ring with his own son.
It's refreshing that people still care enough these days to help somebody out.
A case of strangers helping strangers, proving that patience sometimes does pay off, and that simple acts of kindness aren't so rare after all. In South Lake, Nicole Nielsen, CBS News, Texas.
The presidential election results may seem like a polarizing topic, but a pair of pals in Minnesota found a place to make these divisive subjects a little more friendly. Here's Susan Elizabeth Littlefield.
There's celebration and there's frustration. More apparent than ever that in America, opinions differ. Take Miranda from St. Paul, a retired journalist and public relations specialist.
I have strong views on a woman's right to choose.
Or Jeff from Plymouth, a retired Lutheran pastor.
Fiscal responsibility is really important.
They represent different colors, but sometimes end up on the same page.
Reducing gun violence.
I'm also concerned about gun violence, too.
You're saying you both agree on gun violence. So in these conversations, you figure out common ground.
We do.
The conversations they are having are through Braver Angels. The group was started in 2017 by a U of M social science professor who is facilitating cross-political conversations. The group is now all over the country. They have 6 chapters in Minnesota alone.
And we have a steering team. It's half red and half blue. We had a meeting last night, and it's like, I love these people. We work together really great. People have come out of these, they're energized, and it's like, nobody's changing each other's mind. What we're doing is listening to each other and understanding each other.
They also host events for politicians themselves.
And what happens very effectively is people get to know each other and they become friends. And one of the sayings is, you can't punch somebody that you're hugging.
They use this acronym to moderate, listen to other people's views, acknowledge their feelings, pivot to your own views, and then gain perspective.
So I might say to Melinda, after I've acknowledged what she said, so Melinda, I've been thinking about this a lot. Could I share my perspective on this particular topic?
It's a technique that's working.
I had a great conversation with another Minnesota Red, at this year's National Convention on Abortion. And it's like, it makes perfect sense to me why she has that view now.
What do you think you've really learned?
A big thing I've learned is that trust is built by taking people's concerns seriously.
And you're actually friends.
We are!
Yep.
It can be done.
It can be done.
With photojournalist Chris Cruz, Susan Elizabeth Littlefeld, WCCO News.
Coming up, meet the folks making sure people with autism are prepared to face their fears in the airport and in the sky. We introduce you now to a man who recognized a problem with the travel industry. Airlines, they were not doing enough to make people with autism feel more comfortable. So he decided to fill that void himself. Here's Lana Zach.
The unfamiliar is approached with extreme caution by Jake Catino.
To capture your voice, that's all it does.
And that means pausing to explain to Jake what we're doing as well.
Let's ask your mom where we're gonna go.
So we're gonna go right here to Autism Flies check-in sheet. See the sign? Yeah. Okay. We're all gonna go. We're all gonna go.
Like 1 in 36 American children, Jake is on the autism spectrum. In 14 years, he has never flown on an airplane.
Did you think that you were going to be able to take a flight with Jake?
No.
You thought that wasn't even in the cards?
That's right.
But today, his mom, Kristen, tells me she has new hope. The Catinos are here at Bradley International Airport in Connecticut and will soon board a Breeze Airways plane. But that plane, to Jake's great relief, will not leave the ground.
Practice until you're ready. Practice until your child is ready to go.
Autism Flies, run by the organization Autism Double Checked, is a program where parents can bring their children on an actual airplane and practice the boarding process, taking some of the uncertainty and stress out of the process for autistic travelers.
It started when a friend, also a travel industry veteran, also with a special needs son, and we were complaining the travel industry isn't ready to help people with autism. I said to my wife, there has to be help out there for people traveling with autistic kids. We came back from that trip and I researched it and I found there was nothing out there.
Alan Day is the co-founder and CEO of Autism Double Checked. They provide training to airlines, airports, and hotels across the country to teach staff how to accommodate autistic travelers and provide families with the tools and resources they need to have a successful trip.
What is the greatest concern that you hear from parents?
Parents are worried that their children's behaviour will be misunderstood, that an autistic meltdown will be seen by a bystander as bad behaviour from a brat, and they will be judged as bad parents.
And adding to the stress that they're already carrying.
Yeah. Travel is stressful in the first place.
This is Jake's third time going through the Autism Flies training.
I heard the first time was really hard. How did you feel the first time you did it?
It's scared.
How did the first time go?
Terrible.
Okay.
It was just me that I took Jake, and I think it ended at security. They did get him past it, but it took over an hour. It took us a long time to get to the gate, and at that point, he couldn't even walk to the plane. It was done, it was over, he was terrified.
But Autism Flies knows that repetition can help many of their travelers, so they allow families to come as many times as they need.
What was it like when you tried to get on the airplane the second time?
It was kind of cool.
It was?
Yeah.
What'd you like about the airplane?
I liked the seats.
Yeah?
And the windows.
Does it get easier every time?
Yeah, it gets easier.
And so it does. Jake sails through TSA, and his parents hope that this third training will assure him he is ready to fly.
So, if you do a good job today on the airplane...
What happens?
What happens if Jake does a good job today?
Then we get to go in March to Disney to see all our friends.
What does this mean for you to be able to take this trip?
First time as a family to actually get on a plane and go somewhere together. To us, it's fabulous.
While the families are preparing themselves at the boarding gate, inside the plane, the crew has been preparing just as hard. Bibbs Dutton is one of many Breeze Airways flight attendants who has gone through the double check training. She shared a specific example of how the training helped her with a passenger.
We had a flight that was delayed, and we had a family on, and they had a daughter that had signs of autism, and I just wanted to help them out. And that's when I went and grabbed a rubber glove, filled it with warm water, and tied it off for the child, and it did help in that moment for sure. I feel really all the airlines, anyone in hospitality should be required to take this course. It's amazing, and I've seen the difference.
And as the families board the flight, they see the difference too. Some cautious, some excited.
Snacks.
They share with me family members that they cannot wait to see and trips that they never thought possible.
Miami, here we come.
Yeah. Jump on the cruise boat.
Jump on the cruise boat.
That's right.
For Day, he hopes many other airports, airlines, and hotels across the country will become Autism Double Check certified in the near future.
Do you have visions that you would grow to every airport?
Every airport should do it 3 or 4 times a year. We're a long, long way from that, but one step at a time. Every journey starts with a first step. So we've taken a couple of the first steps and we will get there.
Coming up, how a tattered American flag led to a friendship between a veteran and a man who always revered the military, but never got the chance to serve.
Just looking at him by appearance alone, what did you think?
Very proud gentleman.
Very
proud of this country, yes.
Wow. Did it almost give you a sense of patriotic pride?
I started concentrating on him. Wow. You know, I was honored to be in his presence.
David Begnaud recently met a proud Vietnam War veteran and a man who wanted to serve in the military but couldn't. And David found out how they went on to form a friendship over an American flag.
In the morning, every morning in fact, when Napoleon Fuller raises that American flag outside of his Menifee, California home, he sees it as a very special gift.
It's such a privilege, and I'm honored to be a part of the United States of America, and that flag represents.
Napoleon Fuller is not a military man, but even at 66 years old, he has longed to be one.
You were blinded in one eye as a child. And so I know you wanted to serve in the U.S. military. So they essentially said to you,
no.
But he has flown a flag for years and even wore one out. And that is where Eddie Lamb and Caroline Reeves come in. Last spring, the couple was driving by Napoleon Fuller's home.
It was Caroline that noticed the nice flagpole that Napoleon had out there. And she said, but the flag looks a little bit tired.
Eddie and Caroline are military people. He is a Vietnam-era Air Force pilot. She is a World War II historian, the daughter of a Rosie the Riveter. To them, the sight of a less than perfect American flag just didn't sit well.
So what was the condition of that flag, Napoleon?
Oh, it was pretty bad. It was rough. It was rough.
I said, well, maybe we ought to bring him a new flag.
So you open the door and here is a man. He's got his Vietnam vet hat on.
Exactly.
And he's holding a flag.
No, actually, it was behind his back.
I'm saying, well, he might not be receptive to this, and I hid the flag behind me.
Just looking at him by appearance alone, what did you think?
Very proud gentleman.
Very
proud of this country, yes.
Wow. Did it almost give you a sense of patriotic pride?
I started concentrating on him. Wow. You know, I was honored to be in his presence.
Today, that single brand new American flag represents the pride of both men and shows too how the flag brings people together.
We brought some
How are you,
goodies.
sir? Oh, bless your heart. How's it going? All right, likewise. Looking good. Looking good.
But for that flag, Napoleon and his wife Frida may have never known Eddie and Caroline. And there are Eddie's war stories that Napoleon wanted to know more about.
Yeah, so actually, where were you stationed at?
I was stationed in Benoit mostly, and that's just outside of Saigon. and you just go up and fly and put in airstrikes and stuff like that. Finally, the time comes when you're going to go home, and that you really look forward to that.
Mm-hmm. Napoleon Fuller has his own story, too. He went on to serve his country, just in other ways. As a government worker for the city of Los Angeles, where for 22 years Mr. Fuller was proudly the man who delivered the mail, and was then what he has always been, a soldier at heart.
What's your takeaway from this experience?
Just knowing that he not only served the country, he still has it within his heart to still present what it was that he stood for.
And here's my takeaway. Patriotism is not limited to those who serve in uniform. It is about pride, respect, and the willingness to connect and support each other.
David Begnaud for us. That is our show. I hope it brightened your day. I hope it lifted you up. If for some reason it didn't, go ahead and press play again. Reruns are free. I'm going to find some good news.